Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sweden is now a proud member of NATO, and the sun is shining. The most successful organization for peace and security that has ever existed. After more than 200 years of military non-alignment, this is truly a historic step, but also a very, very natural step. We know now that the expectations for Sweden are high, and we do have high expectations ourselves. The Russian brutal full-scale invasion against Ukraine united Sweden behind the conclusion that a full-fledged NATO membership is the only reasonable choice. The Swedish flag was raised at the NATO headquarters last Monday with a very strong support in our parliament and among our people. And a symbol of this is the fact that the Swedish delegation to Brussels did not only consist by cabinet ministers and the commander-in-chief, but also by the crown princess and altogether 6 national party leaders. I have highly valued the close bipartisan cooperation throughout this important journey. In a vibrant democracy like ours, we argue and we debate, and you see that every day, but we unite in long-term protection of our freedom and our democracy. Let me also say how truly grateful we are for all the support given by our close friends in Europe and across the Atlantic, not least by you. I'd like to say thanks to all the diplomats of our NATO allies serving here in Stockholm. Your efforts have been instrumental in fostering the strong bonds that we are commemorating today. Thank you so much, all of you. Sweden joins NATO because we believe in the importance of collective defense, but we also join NATO to be a security provider from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. We know the importance of safeguarding a strong national defense. We are doubling our defense budget, and since January 1st, Sweden meets the NATO standard of 2% of GDP to defense spending. Sweden joining NATO is not the end of something, it's a beginning. I look forward to help making the world a safer and freer place together with all of our allies. Thank you so much. Please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for gathering here today in celebration of Swedish membership in the North Atlantic Alliance. Your presence here at Karlberg commemorates the fact that Sweden has now entered a new community. And as NATO members, Sweden stands ready to do our part in strengthening the alliance. February 2022 marked the beginning of a new and dark chapter in Europe's history. For the first time since the Second World War, we witnessed a full-scale invasion on the European continent. Unlawfully, brutally, and cruelly, Russia decided to attack its peaceful and democratic neighbor. 2 years have passed, but President Putin has not changed his ambitions. The invasion continues to threaten stability and freedom on our entire continent. And that is why not letting Russia win the war in Ukraine is the defining challenge of our time. And that is why we won't let Putin pull down a new Iron Curtain through Europe, our home. In times like these, it is important to stick together. And looking back at Sweden's journey towards NATO membership, it strikes me how easily we came together after the invasion of Ukraine. Here at home, with Finland, and with our friends in NATO. And when we initiated the process, Ulf Kristersson, then as leader of opposition, and myself, then as Prime Minister, could manifest the broad parliamentary support for our NATO application. And the same applies here today. Together with Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson and myself, now leader of the opposition, we can manifest the broad parliamentary support for strengthening Sweden in a new era for our nation. And throughout this process, myself and Prime Minister Kristersson also have had very close contact with our Finnish counterparts, because we knew all along that the decision of one country would affect the other. And knowing that Sweden could go hand in hand with Finland was a very important factor for me when we decided to apply for NATO membership. And before sending in our application, we knew our country would be in a sensitive situation before reaching full membership. And that is why, as Prime Minister, I asked our friends for a helping hand on the journey towards membership. And the security assurances that we received from a large number of NATO countries, also represented here today, have made Sweden a safer country during the past 2 years, together with all the support we have gotten during this process. So on behalf of Sweden, thank you so much for your support. And at long last, now we are members. And, as I said, ready to do our part to strengthen the alliance in this critical time for Europe. First, just as Ulf Kristersson said, we are security providers with sophisticated defense capabilities. And we will continue to strengthen our resilience by building a credible total defense with military capability and civil preparedness with popular backing. But it doesn't end there. We also have a strong defense industry with world-leading technology, producing submarines and fighter jets alike. And this industry will play an important role in sustaining support for Ukraine and strengthening NATO. Second, together with our allies, we are ready to make the Nordic region a bastion of strength in NATO's high north. And now the entire Nordic region is part of NATO, and the existing Nordic Defence Cooperation constitutes a significant contribution to NATO's deterrence in Northern Europe. And we stand ready to deepen this cooperation further. Third, Sweden will, of course, continue to be a strong voice for democracy and human rights. All those things that make our societies worth defending. And across the globe, we see authoritarianism on the rise. Sweden joins NATO to be able to better defend what we cherish about our nation, our democracy, our sovereignty, the freedom to make our own decisions, the freedom to build the future we want, the freedom to be who we are. All this we will continue to safeguard here at home, stand up for on the international arena as well, and from now on, as a member of NATO. Thank you very much.